Welcome to Higher Houses, our podcast about bridging global cultures, celebrating the good, the bad, and growing together. Welcome back. Are you excited?
I am. I'm sorry. I am. I'm very excited. It's just wonderful to try some new things today.
Okay.
It's going to be an exciting one.
It's going to be an exciting one and an interesting one with us sharing one microphone. We're going to tell you why we're sharing one microphone shortly. Before we do, let's get into the high and the low. I'm going to give you my high and low really quickly because I've got the mic. So my high this week is I have found a basic bitch summer drink that I absolutely love. It is an iced decaf latte with almond milk with sugar-free hazelnut from Starbucks. It's delicious. It'll change your life. I feel very posh when I wear it, when I drink it. And then my low is literally last week. I was descaling my kettle. I think I told you about this. Burnt myself on the side here. It's looking quite gross, but it's better. On the same week, I went on a run. My pants split and I've got the worst chafe, which is somewhat gone now. It's so sore. So that's me. And then, we'll get into rent-free.
Great. Ouch. I saw it looked really sore. It's not looking good. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, quickly, my high and low. My high is that given how disgustingly hot London has been, we have rediscovered evening walks. So after dinner, it is a game changer. It is so lovely to be out until like...
romantic.
Not really. Okay. We just walk along the river. It's an outing for Louis, mostly. And my low is that I think my phone has officially given up the ghost. For those that know me very well, they'll know that I live on the edge and my phone does not have a cover or a screen protector and has not for about a year and a half. I did drop it about a month ago and it is starting to be increasingly dodgy. It does its own little party now sometimes, so that's fun. Okay, so yeah, I think it's overs.
Yeah, it's done.
Rent-free.
Yeah.
So Wimbledon has been taking up a lot of my brain and it's an interesting one. Very quickly, I think that the women's game in Grand Slams should be 5 sets or 2 5 sets. Simply because it is a different format, just like saying test cricket versus one-day cricket versus T20s. It's a completely different format. It challenges them in a completely different way. And I think it's a pity that we're not seeing women being challenged in a slightly different way than a 3-set game. Interestingly, though, the women are not very keen on this. Because they're just, in general, nobody's keen for more tennis. Their schedules are horrific already. So they don't really want more tennis. And obviously 5 sets is something that they've never prepared for. It'll be a completely different way of training. But yeah, it's just something I've been thinking a lot about. Okay. So that's what's rent-free. How about yours?
I had a couple of rent-frees this week, I'll be honest with you. But I think something that's really been annoying me, and I was chatting to John about it probably like 2 nights ago. So I'm all for the weight loss jabs, the Ozempic, the Wegovy, the Mounjaro. I mean, I'm all for it. Like, honestly, I have nothing against it. What I am against is so many fitness influencers that I follow have all of a sudden lost a shit ton of weight in 2 months. You are telling me you are not on the jab. I'm sorry, I do not believe it. And I just wish that people would be more open and honest about it. It's not a problem that you're taking it, but just tell people that you're taking it. Do you know what I mean? So people like me, and I'm watching you because I love a what I eat in a day video. Like, I'm obsessed with that. And I'm watching that and I'm like, you're not eating all of that and you're not losing weight eating all of that. Just be honest with that. So Andy, I don't know what his problem is. We'll just ignore him. The cat is meowing. The joys of creating a podcast at home. So that's been living rent-free and I'm really annoyed about it, but it is what it is. So shall we get into something very exciting? So our regular watchers, listeners will notice that me and Taryn are sharing a microphone. Normally I'm not sitting so close together with her. But today's a very exciting day, guys. We have our first guest. It is the wonderful Melissa. Let me give her a little introduction. I worked hard on this introduction, so you better enjoy it. I've known you for a really long time. I think you're fabulous. I think you're witty. I think you're charismatic. I think you are somebody that likes to not only ask a question, Q&A, you like to also
Walisa.
answer. Exactly, Walisa, you also like to answer a question. And I just think you're all around smart cookie, and I think you got a lot to say. So welcome, round of applause. Melissa, our first guest. Hallelujah, we did it. And we have an interesting topic to discuss, which I'm going to head back to my co-host to introduce us into that said topic.
Thank you very much for that beautiful introduction of Melissa.
Cheers to Melissa being on the podcast.
It's so lovely. Yeah, our first guest. How special to have you giving your opinion on things. Let's be fair.
I'm really flattered. Thank you for having me.
Amazing.
No one else was available.
No one else was available. I mean, it is a Monday.
I thought we said we weren't going to talk about
It's Monday, sorry.
I have no life. And you offered me rosé.
Exactly. So today we are talking about feminism versus femininity, and this topic actually came from you. So you are literally the right person for this. We have to bring you on. And we're going to talk about the fact that, you know, are they mutually exclusive? Are they opposing ideas? Or are they actually in harmony with each other? So feminism, going to the dictionary, I got this from the Oxford Dictionary. It's defined as the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. So Oxford Dictionary definition. Femininity, on the other hand, is the qualities or attributes typically associated as characteristic of women or girls. I do think it's important to remember here, though, that these are traits that are not always solely determined by gender. So we often associate them with women and girls, but that doesn't actually mean that they are related to women or girls.
Yeah, very true.
So, I have a couple of thoughts. Okay, firstly, I don't know if I'm very ignorant, right? But I just kind of thought if you identified as a woman, that automatically made you a feminist, right? Because
If you
surely we all...
identify as a woman.
Yeah, if you identify as a woman, right? Because some people aren't born...
Okay.
They're women, but if they identify as a woman, surely you are a feminist. Is that wrong
Interesting.
to think that way? Because it only made me really think about my stance when we started discussing the topic. And I was like, I don't really have a strong view because I've always just been like, well, yes, I'm a woman. I want equality. So surely I'm a feminist.
Okay.
The other thing I would say is that I do think feminism has a bit of a negative connotation for a lot of people. I think, once again, don't know if I'm being ignorant, but when I think of you think of feminism, you think a lot of the propaganda, and they are rioting and they're wanting their equal rights. So immediately it's like, oh,
There's anger.
So if a woman's got an idea or an opinion of something, there must be a feminist.
There's an opposite.
And feminist is so bad, and why are you a feminist? You know what I mean? I feel like especially when we were growing up, so me and you obviously being the same age, don't you find that was always a bit of a negative, you weren't really feminine if you were a feminist. And I do think that kind of leads me to say, and once again, could be wrong, but I find it really difficult, especially for our generation, not so much your generation. I think you are kind of on the cusp of that whole the Gen Z, but I think for us being pure millennials and just think of how we grew up, it's really difficult to have a conversation about feminism. I'm going to be saying that word so many times.
Tricky words like Worcestershire.
Exactly. Because let's be honest, men, we just kind of ignore it. It's just kind of something that we glance over, we ignore it. I think it's really difficult. Men will never understand, and they can go so far as to say, oh, but now it's pro-feminism, anti-men sort of thing. That's kind of what they think, but they're not women, so they won't understand. And we've spoken to other mates, and I think there has been conversations where some women are just like, I'm not even going to bring it up because what is the point, or what is the point trying to fight for a certain right because it's just the stock standard, men just get more. You know what I mean? So I find it really difficult to discuss, and that's where I sit on the whole feminist board. I think I am a feminist because I'm a woman, and I believe in equality, but I'm also kind of in the thing where I might just ignore it because nothing's ever going to be done about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll give a few of my thoughts around that. I think it's interesting that you say millennials, we struggle to talk about that. And I think that there's so at the moment, I think when you talk about feminism, you are saying that you are then anti something.
Yeah.
But what we, I think, forget is that there are a lot of men that are feminists.
And thank goodness for that.
And thank goodness for that. And I think there are a lot of men that have empowered us as women. And I think we can all speak about men in our own lives that empower us as women. I think we can probably speak about men at work that empower us as women. And good old Steve in the office that always remembers all the girls' birthdays. And Steve or Johan, if you're from South Africa. Let's not forget about those Johans. And I think that we often, when we get into those conversations, it's, okay, I'm pro-women, therefore I'm anti-men. And that's where I think we need to be careful, because we need to make sure that women are at the table with the men, but we don't want to flip the table over with the men at the table.
Well, yeah, that's not feminism.
That's not feminism. Feminism, what is feminism? Like, feminism, like you said, it's about everyone being equal. But also we must be careful when we say the word equal sometimes, because, and this is where I think I maybe will be a little bit controversial, in that when you think about men and women, I think we each bring our own attributes. And femininity in itself, I think, brings its own attributes.
Yeah, so do you think men and women bring different attributes, or do you think femininity and masculinity bring different attributes?
Yes, exactly. I think femininity and masculinity brings different attributes, because like we've already said, you can be feminine but not necessarily a woman.
Yeah.
And you can be masculine but potentially not a man.
Yeah.
And I think in a household or in a workplace or in governments or in communities, I think there is a place for femininity and there's a place for masculinity.
Oh, yes.
And I think what's happening now, which is the worry sometimes for me, is that when we talk about that Worcestershire thing. Such a difficult word. As feminists, we should really learn how to say feminism. But I think it's quite confronting. When I'm a feminist, okay? Whoa. What do you mean you're a feminist? That you're anti-men? We're cancelling men? No, we're not cancelling men.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I just want to, so I'm just thinking, so what you were just saying now, when people are like, I'm a feminist, it goes back to
You'll
saying,
completely lose me if you say that.
No, but
Like,
yeah.
And strong like that.
It's strong, but that's the thing, right? Because it goes back to the old perception of what feminism looked like. Do you know what I mean? It was the hardcore, we're rioting, up the women, down the man sort of thing, which, like you say, is just not the case anymore.
No.
Yeah. And I think it is important to remember two things. So it's interesting that you say that immediately your back goes up when somebody says, I'm a feminist. But we should actually very confidently be able to say, I'm a feminist. Because that doesn't mean anything. In fact, it has very little to do with men in some ways, and a lot to do with men in some ways. It has very little to do with them in the fact that all we're wanting is to have equal rights as them, or equal positions, or equal standing at the table as them. But it also has a lot to do with them, because actually a lot of what we as feminists are fighting for is actually for the betterment of them too. And so living in this patriarchal society that we do live in, which is why we need feminism, it does mean that men are often not allowed to engage in certain things because it's deemed as feminine. And feminine is weak.
So I think the challenge comes in with that. We must be careful when, and the reason I said I get my back up sometimes when people say, I'm a feminist. Is that a feeling? Is it a perception? Or is it based on your facts? Or is it based on your experience? Okay. So when I think back to, and I'm sure that you will both relate, when I think back to my father, we all had strong father figures. We all had fathers that were providers. I have a Down syndrome brother, and my mum stopped working the moment she gave birth to my brother. And my dad has been, if stoic doesn't even begin to explain the kind of man that my father is. He's a stoic, he's a solid pillar. And my mum is the wave, right? And for me, if I think about, is that masculine? Or is that what he brings as a man in his mind in the household? So if I had to go to my dad and say, I'm a feminist, your role in what you've done as a father figure, because fathers we associate as men,
Yes.
that's negative for me. And men have been such huge contributors. But I think where I'm always just a little bit careful is that I'm not going to say I'm a feminist, but I am pro equality, but I'm also pro being who you want to be. And if I want to be a bin man, or if I want to be a bricklayer and I'm a woman and I'm strong enough to do it and I feel safe enough to do it, then I want to be able to do that.
Yeah, completely. And I think on the other hand, had your mom been in a slightly different position, had her job been slightly different potentially,
she might have had more choices.
Well, and also then maybe it would have made more sense because unfortunately the caring responsibilities do often fall to the family when you've got somebody with a disability in the family. And so maybe more naturally it would have been your father that had potentially been the one to stay at home and your mother to have worked. In a completely different sense, I grew up in a home where my parents, in fact, for a lot of my mom's career, she actually earned more than my father. And it was...
Do you think your father felt devalued?
No.
Or do you think his ego took a knock?
Not at all. I think he was just happy that there was more money.
He rode that wave. He enjoyed that.
Bring that money in.
Bring that money, baby.
I think that's so interesting because there's not, and our parents are kind of in the same sort of
your
area.
mom was very successful as well.
I know, but it was always, I grew up very much in a household where my dad always earned more money, and it was like
your dad had the last word, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And but that's the era that we grew up in, where the masculine kind of rose to the top, and the feminine was the homemaker, the caretaker.
Where's the lasagna?
Where's the lasagna? Where's the chicken a la king? You know,
why isn't it chicken a la queen?
But I find that so interesting because your parents are one of the few parents I know were
refreshing.
in that position. It's so refreshing. It's really refreshing.
I have a friend like that in Joburg as well. And it's interesting because she's actually your age. She won't mind me talking about it. And she, her mom has this amazing consulting business, and her dad does woodwork. But
and lives his best life.
And he lives his best life. That's why I asked the question, does he... And I think it's also about the man. Like, if I think about my husband, he would probably have a challenge with that because he's very much more of the mindset of provider.
Yeah.
But also, what are you providing? Let's also reframe that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like you can provide more than just financially. You could provide protection. You could provide care.
You can provide love, exactly.
A nest, safety. Those are all the things that, when you look at that Maslow's hierarchy of needs that are very important to us. So, yes, if you've got a man that isn't earning any money, that's lying on the couch all day and doesn't take out the bins or choose what Netflix documentary you're going to watch on Friday.
Yeah, the least he could do is make a freaking decision.
I'm going to have a problem with that.
And equally, any man or woman in a relationship with a man or woman should have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because you need to contribute something.
You're not
going to contribute everything all the time.
Yeah. There has to be counterproductivity in any relationship, friendship or romantically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also think that you touched on something really important about what are we providing, and a lot of so the interesting thing is that there will certainly be a large group of men that believe that they provide protection, and studies have actually shown that in situations where a woman is vulnerable, let's say there's a man that's on a train, or a man that's feeling her up or something like that, the person more likely to intervene is another woman.
Interesting.
So
true.
men are not actually the ones that are intervening. And look, they are. I know that my husband certainly would in that situation, and I've seen him intervene.
But you can't say it's all men that would do that.
But
yeah.
in terms of likelihood, they are less likely to intervene because they don't feel it's their responsibility or their place.
Interesting.
Whereas women do typically have a lot more experience with the situation, and
Probably
so
also
they
empathy, right?
Empathy and recognition
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah.
If you don't recognize the problem, you can't intervene in
Very true.
the situation.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Yeah, and I think girls also...
We have each other's back.
I mean, I've always been a girl's girl as well. And that doesn't make me a feminist, but I've always been I've always had girl friends. I've never really been one to have guy friends.
Yeah.
I'm a girl's girl. I will go, if there's a braai and there's a huddle of girls or a huddle of boys, I want to hear what the girls are talking about.
Do you consider yourself a feminist? Yes or no? We want an answer.
I don't think I'm a feminist. I think I'm a pro-choicist.
Okay, what does that mean?
I
Talk
think
to
we
me.
must all be, I think whether you want to be murdering not cool.
That's a theme on our podcast.
I think we can sort of all agree murdering not cool.
We don't like that.
It was so funny because I was at a conference recently with work, and it was a work conference that turned into there are free drinks here, so let's all just drink ourselves into oblivion. And we were all sitting around the table and we didn't know each other. Like, we met that night. And we all started this game where, like, what's cool? What's not cool? And it escalated so quick. We were like, okay, so getting hit on by an 18-year-old boy in a pub, cool. Not cool. And like, it was so interesting. And we all had to close our eyes and do it, and then open our eyes and see who'd been like, cool, not cool.
We should play this game.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And because none of us knew each other, like, oh my gosh, the revelations that came out were hilarious. We were like, murder, cool, not cool. Like, and if you open your eyes, someone's like, cool. Like, okay, you're off our table. Like, move to the next table.
You're murdering.
So,
we don't like you.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'm pro, like, be queer, wear a dress, be who you want to be. If you want to be a bin man, if you want to be a stay-at-home dad, be a stay-at-home dad. But it's about choice. And for me, the problem I have with people that force you into a choice, and that spans across many different angles, right? Not just feminism.
Yeah.
And don't murder me. That's not cool. Bad. Murdering bad.
Do you not think that you may have just described yourself as a feminist?
Why?
Because that's exactly what we are talking about when we're talking about feminism. We're talking about the fact that we want people to have the space to be who they want to be. And whether that means that you lean more into your masculine traits or your feminine traits, be that if you're a man or a woman, or if you want to wear the dress, or if you want to leap every day of your life. Like, that's how you walk. You actually leap.
Yeah.
Actually, you're just a feminist.
So I think to Cara's point in the beginning, I really have a challenge with the word feminist. And I think it's because society has told us that it's got a negative connotation. Yeah. So that's why I use the word I'm a pro-choicist. And I would prefer to be open-minded than say, I don't want to label myself, I'm a feminist. Don't hashtag me, Melissa's a feminist on this podcast.
You're going to. That's good. No, but
Look, if it gives you the views, guys, it gives you the views.
But listen, I completely get what you're saying, and I will stand on that soapbox. It goes back to our generation.
Yeah, I think so.
It goes back to, because and I mean this with the greatest respect and love in my heart. If you have to speak to a man from the age of 37 plus and you say, I'm a feminist, they'll be like, feminism.
Here we go again.
But they don't, but they're linking this back to the old ways, and not the old
just
old
don't
ways.
think you're going to get through to anyone.
You're not going to get through.
It.
No, of course. But I do think we shouldn't be embarrassed to say.
I think we need a new word. We need to maybe today discover a new word.
We are a feminist. Do you know what I mean? I'm a female, so yes, I am a feminist because I have a vagina and I
What happens if you're
a
male and you're a feminist? Then what? Are you also a feminist?
Yeah, well, you should be. We promote everyone being feminists on this podcast. So I am a feminist, and I think we need to not choose another word. I think we should take back
Shy away
ownership
from it.
of feminism, and that really does mean that we have a lot of work to do as feminists, because that negative connotation, unfortunately, is so inherent. But I think it's also because it's really challenging for people. And anything that challenges people too much, they're going to shy away from.
Yeah.
And we don't want people shying away from us, but we've also got important work to do. We're not done yet.
I agree. But I think there's also some people, if I can challenge you a little bit there, is I think there's some people, specifically some feminists, that have done a bit of damage. And I think there are, I mean, like when I was doing a bit of research for this podcast, I was watching
Did you do research?
I did research, yes, I did, yeah.
Did you go to ChatGPT?
No, I did. We're not allowed it at work. Copilot, very censored, and you can't use the word feminist. So I did some research on some like case studies on where they have applied a very strong feminist angle, right? So in Iceland, they did this very small country, so it's easy to do.
Great survey or sample.
Great way to do these kind of things. And basically they have a completely like monogamous society. Like everyone is equal. Even in school, the boys do knitting. And the boys have to stand in the morning and they all have to hold hands and tell each other one thing that they love each other about. And it's all very sweet when they're 6 years old, but it might be a bit weird when they're 18.
It's weird when women do that too, let's be
Yeah,
fair.
well, that is true. And what they found is that the choices that they started to make when they were older, where they were offered jobs, which in society we presume men would do, like the more physical jobs, the women didn't want to do them. Because I also think, and this is where feminism becomes so complicated, is because I think women, and this is why insurance is always more expensive for men. Women value their safety a lot more, right? And that is a very inherent part of us. We're like, I'm not going to climb that ladder because I'll probably fall off it.
Quite risk averse.
I'm kind of, and I've got 2 kids at home. Like, I can't die. Who's going to give little Bobby his oats tomorrow morning? Where men are like, well, it's fine. I'll climb the ladder. So I think that we inherently have different traits that men don't have. But I don't think that makes us, and that's why I started with in the beginning, that I think we've got qualities that need to complement each other more. And that's why I feel like if you're a woman and you are very masculine, you're very strong, and you want to go and climb up the ladder, be allowed to climb up the ladder.
Yeah.
But if you're a woman that feels, I don't want to climb up the ladder because I don't feel safe enough, and I've got little Bob and Judy at home, then don't climb up the ladder, but give me the option.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's why you say you are pro-choice, because you want that option, you want that opportunity to do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of men would support that. I feel like they would say, sure, climb up the ladder.
So feminism needs a bit of a PR...
a bit of a PR makeover.
Exactly. Not that we need to. So we need to take back ownership, I think, which is really important.
Yeah.
So how do you think your feminism or pro-choiceness has evolved, and how feminism more generally has evolved?
I must say the one thing with moving to London that I've loved so much, because I've been here now, a year and a few months?
3 months?
The one thing in South Africa that you don't see a lot of is fashion. I think because we all get in our cars and we drive to work and no one's looking at you at 7-Eleven as hard as you try.
We don't have 7-Elevens here, Mel.
Well,
Sainsbury's?
You do
Tesco's?
have 7-Eleven here.
Do we?
Yes, you do. But they're in like petrol stations.
Oh.
You do.
Do you know that?
But they aren't in South Africa anymore.
Aren't they? Have they closed down? Okay, Woolworths. Let's go with Woolworths, okay? Let's agree on Woolworths, all right? We have a Woolworths.
I'm a visual.
So no one's looking at you in Woolworths, right? Whereas in London, I feel like you can be a lot more fashionable, play with makeup more, play with your hair more.
I think you can be yourself here, regardless if you are
a lot more
feminist or
Yes.
a non-feminist,
Yeah.
or you're a man, a woman.
You can
or
very
who
much
you are.
express yourself. So I think that London has opened my mind to being what it means a lot more to be a woman. And also I feel like I can wear a short skirt here and high heels and walk outside, and I feel a lot safer and protected as a woman. So you can explore your femininity a bit more.
So I just want to quickly stop you what you were saying. And I don't know whether or not we're going to get into that a bit later, but do you feel then what to you is femininity? Like what do you see as femininity? Because you just mentioned a short skirt and high heels.
Yeah.
And I
So
picked
for
that
me,
up.
that's for me as a woman. I mean, about a year ago, I had this. I think I was bored or something. I'm the kind of person that gets like bored of things, and then I'll eat like baked potatoes for 3 weeks, and then I'll get bored of them. I'm very I'm very ADHD actually. I mean, I'm undiagnosed, but let's be honest about it.
Super.
So I mean, can you see my right eye twitching as I speak?
We're making you sit in one place for way too long.
Yeah, I've been sitting here way too long. Like, can we do some jumping jacks?
We are pro-choice, but I wouldn't recommend that.
So I think that, what was my train of thought now?
Your femininity. So what does femininity mean to you?
Oh, yeah. So I think that for me personally, femininity is about exploring what I like and what I'm comfortable with. And I went to a show on Friday night, Taylor Tomlinson, Tay-Tay. And Taylor Tomlinson...
Different kind of Tay-Tay.
Yeah, different kind of Tay. My kind of Tay-Tay. And she's just recently come out as queer, but she's actually, in my mind, quite feminine. She's a very pretty woman, and she wears a lot of makeup, and she's recently come out as queer. And she talks quite a lot about this femininity and that sort of thing. And she speaks about that she didn't realize that she could still be like feminine and be in a relationship with women, but still be her feminine self.
Yeah.
And often, and that's another thing, we have these stereotypes. We think lesbian, we think masculine. And that's not true.
And same for gay men.
100%.
There's a lot of assumption that they will be only feminine, but actually there's a huge diversity of a little bit of both in everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Pro-choice. So for me, femininity, I like pretty things. I like glittery things. I've always liked that ever since I was little. I never went through the tomboy stage. I've always liked glittery things. But there was a time in my life where I think I dulled it down. I don't know why. I can't explain that to you. But yeah, so about a year ago, as I was saying, I had this, quarter life crisis, and I cut my hair like really short.
It looked lovely.
You can still, it's like still growing on one side and all long and feminine. So I'm like a bit masculine on the one side and then Worcestershire sauce on the left. And I don't know why I did it, but I think I was just doing a bit of one of these like fuck you moments. Like, fuck you, I'm going to cut my hair completely fucking weird. And I don't know why. And a lot of people said to me like, party on the left, business on the right. Not so sure about that for you, Mel. So I'm really trying to grow that out. But I'm definitely,
I thought it looked great.
Yeah, I've always been one that just goes into the shop and buys like the cheapest face wash. Whereas now I'm spending a lot of time on Instagram. And I think you two have also influenced me a lot in that way, like to... and it's fun, like explore makeup, and because I actually enjoy it.
Yeah, it's so much fun,
and that's why I just spent £200 on a shark flex.
The shark.
So
is
so that's how I'm exploring my femininity a bit more.
Yeah, I love that. I think what's really interesting is we often view femininity and masculinity as it's a single spectrum. So the more feminine you are, the less masculine you can be, and the other way around. But actually, they should be viewed as two separate lines. So you can, in some, and I think it varies from situation to situation. Sometimes there are more masculine traits in certain scenarios or certain environments, and sometimes there are more feminine traits. I say this with also this idea that we maybe need to decouple femininity being attached to women and girls and masculinity being attached to men and boys. But yeah, in many ways I have a lot of feminine traits, and in many ways I have what would be deemed more masculine traits. And that's just how I show up in different scenarios and different situations. But I agree with you, it is a lot of fun in many scenarios.
So, okay, you've described how you live in your femininity. So for you, it's been amazing. You're obviously kind of exploring that more femininity
side of yourself.
Yeah. just because you've done that, it obviously doesn't change the way you feel
No.
about okay, fine. So they can coexist, right?
Yeah. You can still be badass in high heels.
100%. How do you live in your femininity, Taryn?
I don't know. I just live. I think that the traits that are typically associated with femininity have always been a lot of who I am, in some scenarios. And so I do think I lean into being quite caring and creating an environment that invites people into it, and all of those. There's sort of the list of gendered terms. I do typically have a lot of those feminine traits. I don't know what more I should say about this because I am what I am. Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
So, when I was doing research, not ChatGPT research, no Copilot.
Just good old fashioned Google, millennial Google.
Just Google, because I'm a millennial. I stand by it. So I started watching these TikTok videos. So I'm obviously quite new to TikTok because I've been posting on accounts and whatever.
Because you're a millennial.
Because I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
So don't know how this thing works.
Totally scared of Toki Tiki Tiki.
Yeah. What is it called?
What is it, Tiki Toki?
Something that I think was a bit concerning for me was there's a lot of women and people that identify as being a woman that are posting on these social media platforms, and they're saying, okay, because I literally typed in feminism first femininity. It's me. And there's so many videos out there, and they're kind of saying that in order to find a man, in order to be more within yourself, you have to lean into the femininity. So we're going to be leaning more into the femininity because I want to get married, or I want to have a kid, or if I want to
be more of a trad wife.
Be more like a trad wife. This whole trad wife sort of scene is kind of blown up a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really weird and a bit concerning, because just because you're feminine doesn't mean you're not going to be a feminist. And just because you're a feminist doesn't mean you're going to be feminine. Because going back to what we've been saying for the last however many minutes,
4 hours,
because you guys went off on a tangent.
Basically a mini series.
It's okay to be both. So I think that just for me was really concerning. But going back to what you said as well, I think the moment I moved to the UK, which is almost 5 years ago, I was like, cool, kind of opened my eyes. I can wear the short skirts,
a crop top,
and a crop, or whatever the case is, or I can explore a bit with makeup and I explore a bit with jewelry, and just kind of lean into that a bit more, because
feel pretty.
I think this environment
it's also about safety, though. That
it is about safety, but I think it's also about wanting to kind of, I've never been a tomboy, but growing up I was always a bit of a I was always quite plain. I mean, my standard outfit was jeans, sneakers, t-shirt. Like, that's what I've never allowed myself to kind of lean into that femininity unless it was like an occasion. So I think it's been quite interesting for me to be able to do that in, like you say, a safe space.
And play.
Exactly. So that's all I have to say about it.
But I do think a lot of that has to do with safety as well. I think we feel a lot safer here as women.
Yeah. Well, do we ever really feel safe?
I don't think we'll ever feel safe, because unfortunately men do stop the murdering, guys. Not cool.
Yeah, we've spoken about this. Not
cool. But we in general feel that we are more protected here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I know we've got a lot of South African friends that listen to this podcast, but that is something I don't think I realized and took enough cognizance of until I moved here as a woman, of how just walking outside wearing cleavage. Oh, I'm not a target because I'm wearing cleavage. Okay, maybe potentially I still am, but not as much as I necessarily always felt in South Africa. Which probably opens up a whole other can of worms and probably another podcast.
Yeah.
But that's, again, feeling, perception, fact.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I would say that I feel more exposed here. Because more people, and I do more things on my own outside.
Oh, yeah. No, true.
So in many cases, I am on my own and vulnerable, because I'm simply a woman walking on her own, whereas I would never walk anywhere in South Africa.
But remember, I'm also still in the honeymoon phase, right? So I'm probably also have that false sense of security that...
So I want to close this off now with some... please.
We're going to be losing listeners at this stage. Okay, we've gone over loads
It was
of
just
times.
about.
Yeah. They switched off about 20 minutes ago.
So did Cara.
I eventually did. I was looking at Tara and I was like, we need to start wrapping this up. I'm looking at how long we've been recording for. Okay, we need
Thursday.
to stop. Sorry.
It's Thursday at 3 o'clock.
We're wrapping this up. Okay, come on, Darren, give us your fun facts.
up.
I'm giving you some fun facts. I just want to defend feminism a little bit.
Of course.
Mostly because I think the view that we all have of feminism is this, I think, Cara, you might have described it as boots on the ground kind of thing. The suffragettes, a little bit infamous for their feminism, and they were quite disruptive. And they burnt things down. They went on hunger strikes, which, I mean, good for them.
Basically what we're doing with Manjaro now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because of feminine beauty standards. And so they actually started to campaign for the right to vote in the 1800s in the UK, but nothing happened until 1918, where women were now allowed to vote, but only if you're over 30 and you owned a property. And if you didn't own a property, then if your husband owned a property, then good for you, you can also vote. It wasn't until 1928 that they were actually granted the same voting rights as men. So, and that there were still limitations even for certain men. Women were not allowed to apply for a credit card in the UK until 1975.
We probably should still not be allowed to apply for credit cards. But anyway, that's another podcast.
Well, not because we were women. In fact, we may not even go down that route. My goodness gracious me.
Last guest on the Higher Housing podcast.
They were not allowed their own mortgages until the 1970s. Ooh, this one's going to upset you. Woman could be refused service in a pub, Melissa, until 1982.
That does upset me
And
deeply.
that's pretty bloody recent.
That gives me the trigs and the chorms.
Yeah, exactly. How depressing is that?
Yeah, not even a glass of rosé.
And this one, we're down with this one. Rape within a marriage was only a crime since 1991.
Yeah.
That is a shockingly
No, look, there
recent
are some
event.
shocking statistics. There are some shocking, which is why there is I don't dispute the fight against, but I think, like you said, we need to give it a PR makeover.
Yeah, it is.
To get a little bit more bandwidth out of it.
Yeah, sort of like the DA. Need a PR makeover. Yeah. But anyway, on that fun fact and that fun note. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Do we want to ask her a question?
Let's ask her a question.
Sorry.
Real quick. Do you want to ask it? Do you remember?
I'm going to wing it. Her being her, Melissa. So,
Yes, I think you should get a fan.
question, yes. If you were a fly on a wall, what would you hope people are saying about you?
I'd hope they say that they see that I'm authentic, and even though I am a bit weird,
You said it.
and I am a bit in Afrikaans, but I hope that they see that comes from a place of empathy and like kindness and and love and light, and I hope they see that.
Oh, well, we enjoy your company. Well, we're just going to do this. We enjoy your company.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you, and
you
I
do
enjoy
bring a
yours.
lot of authenticity and light.
Yeah, you do. And laughs. And Worcester sauce, apparently. So that's us.
Right, well done.
Yeah, Worcestershire sauce. So that's us for this week, guys. We hope you are still going to be listening to us after this.
Cancel.
Like, follow, comment. 95% of the people that are watching our reels on Instagram are our followers, so follow us. We see you.
And my OnlyFans link is just at the bottom.
And the OnlyFans
Yeah.
link for Melissa is
Yeah.
just at the bottom.
Yeah.
Gonna wrap-
Just to say thank you for being our first guest.
Thank you. I really am flattered and honored to be your first guest. I really am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.